Buckle up, everyone. It's time for a Secret Sanctuary room tour. Welcome back to the Sanctuary. If you've seen my videos before, you might have wondered, why does he call it the Secret Sanctuary? That's kind of hokey. And it is kind of a hokey name, but the reason is that the Secret Sanctuary has a long history in the DC universe, going all the way back to Superman number 17 in 1942. The Secret Sanctuary is essentially the precursor to Superman's Fortress of Solitude. He builds it in a mountainside just outside of Metropolis. It has a big door, just like the Fortress of Solitude, and a big S over the door. And he has that for a number of years until the Fortress of Solitude first appears much later, I think in 1958, in Action Comics number 241. And then when the Justice League arrives, their first headquarters is a different secret sanctuary, also built in a hillside, this time I think in Rhode Island. And they had that for a number of years until the Joker tricked Snapper Carr into divulging its location. And they had to move into their satellite headquarters 23,000 miles above the Earth in geosynchronous orbit that we've had for a long time. So that's why the Secret Sanctuary. As for the space itself, it's quite small. Some of you guys have really awesome display options in your house. This is a bedroom in a beach house in Southern California. It's about 11 feet by 11 feet, so not a lot of space. I only use 3 of the walls. I don't use the 4th wall because my goal is to be able to sit on the couch and admire my whole collection while I watch TV at night. And so just 1 wall, 2 walls, 3 walls, that's it. I got nothing in the middle, just the couch, coffee table, TV. So it's a very small space. I normally display 35 to 40 pieces. My wife thinks it already feels like a lot of statues in here, but I don't want to be too cluttered, so I don't think I'll be expanding beyond this space. I think this is it, and I'm kind of at a point now where if I'm going to acquire a new piece, I'm going to have to part with one that I already have, which is kind of a drag, but it's enabled me to start really focusing my collection on the characters that I really care about. So let's take the tour. All right, starting off on the top shelf of my Gladiator shelving unit, I have the Sideshow Huntress. You guys will remember that we had the bleeding cape problem on this, where the purple from the cape was bleeding onto the white border, and Sideshow had to replace all of the capes in the whole run. Next up, we have Samurai Batman from XM. This is one of my favorite pieces. I know it's not canon, but there's something about the detail on this piece that I think is just awesome. Very, very impressive. And I've got the Deathstroke from this series coming at the end of this year. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they look together. And next to Batman, I've got Moon Knight. Really small edition size on this piece. I think it was like 2 1/4, 250, something like that. And I'm curious if there'll be a resurgence of interest in this piece with the announced TV show. It's a really beautiful piece. It's one of those pieces I always bring up when people talk about how sculpted capes are so heavy. This one's really quite light, and it's also one of the most elaborate capes I think that's ever been produced. So you can do a light sculpted cape. All right, I'll step off my chair here without falling on my butt. Next up, we have the Prime 1 Justice League Batman with a poster I bought for it. This is a recent acquisition. I hemmed and hawed and finally decided to go for it, and I'm really glad I did. It's got quite a presence, does take up a lot of space. Eventually, when the Superman from this line comes out, I'll be scooting him over and hoping that Superman will fit next to him. And then I got to figure out what the heck to do with Wonder Woman when she comes out, probably at the end of the year. And I'll give you a quick look at the unmasked portrait, which I think is really great. Say hi to Ben. All right, bottom shelf. I got the big fella. Thanos on Throne from Sideshow. Just a great piece. It's becoming a little bit more affordable than it was. It kind of went crazy for a while when it first came out and was selling for like $3,000 on eBay. And I think it's settled down now, but it's still a great piece. I still would call it the best comic version of Thanos. There are some great movie version statues of Thanos, but comic version, I think this one is definitely the best. And next to him is Lara Croft from Wetaworks. Really nice base on this one. Some talk about how close they got on the portrait to the prototype. I think she looks beautiful. There might be a slight difference, but not enough to bother me. And then right next to her, we've got Baby Groot. This is a fan-made piece, and I, at the moment, do not remember the maker of this. But he goes pretty good next to the Lara Croft base. All right, and then over the TV, I have Daredevil. Sold out piece. Both the exclusive and the collector's edition sold out. In a pretty short period of time. I think it came out in December and was sold out by early summer, late spring, something like that. And next to him, his Lady Elektra. Her exclusive, I think, just sold out, but her collector's edition is still available. And I think they just look awesome together. Way to go, Sideshow, on that one. For a while, I thought about picking up the Punisher to go with them. I'm kind of leaning against that idea now, just because I have limited space and he's not as important a character to me as these two are. And then next up, we have X-23 and Wolverine. I'll show them together. I think both of these are awesome pieces. Just great. I love the matching bases. The portraits on both. Let me get a little closer here. Look at that. Really, really nice. And on the Wolverine, I go back and forth between the masked and the unmasked because I think they're equally good. On her, on X-23, I tend to go with this portrait because I like irises and pupils on all my statues. Okay, moving over to this wall, we have the Hulk maquette from the first Avengers movie, which I'm really happy with. I bought this secondhand for, I think, $500 very early after I started collecting statues. And I did not like the Hulk maquette from Age of Ultron, so I decided not to replace this one with that one. I am open to replacing this one with a quarter scale piece that I like better. I like the XM transformation, but it takes up a little more real estate than I want to give it, and it was pricey. So I'm holding on to this one for now. I'm really happy with it. I don't mind the mixed media shorts. I just think it's a very well designed piece and quite a bargain for the money. You can still get these on eBay for a good price. Really nice piece. Next up is the Daniel Bell Thor Breaker of Brimstone, which is just a phenomenal piece. Really elaborate base, really fierce expression. I love the details. I love this hand here. This is the regular or collector's edition configuration. Instead of having Stormbringer, I just have the hand because I like the way it looks like his fingers are broken there. They're all going in different directions. It looks really cool. You'll notice I am not displaying it with the cape because I want to be able to see all those details in the musculature. I might put the cape on eventually, but at the moment it's in the box. This was a slightly controversial piece. People didn't like the purple aspect to his skin tone. Doesn't bother me a bit. I've even seen some people do repaints on it, which is fine. You know, you want your collection to be the way you want it. But I'm happy the way he came out of the factory. Next up is Green Arrow. One of the best pieces Sideshow's done in a long time. People were wowed by this piece. From the prototype all the way through production. It's just been very well received. This is the collector's edition portrait. The exclusive is the traditional Robin Hood style portrait. That one has just the white eyes, and I'm thinking about having eyes painted on that portrait. I just prefer statues that have eyes. Really cool base. I love the color. It's like it gives me the impression that this is a night scene. Very breakable base. You got to be really careful with this one. But a beautiful piece. And I can't wait to get the Daniel Bell Flash to display right next to him. I think they're going to look really, really good together. Next up is the original Batman PF from Sideshow. I'm not a fan of the new PF. People are really split on that one. Some people call it the Hunchback. Some people say, you know, they don't like the pants that he's wearing. There's a lot of complaints about that one. This is the more classic version that I remember reading, like from the Neil Adams issues, the Marshall Rogers issues. Just a classic Batman. Again, like the Hulk, I would not be averse to replacing this one with a quarter scale that I liked better. I just haven't found it yet. Sideshow Wonder Woman. I really love this piece. People were disappointed with the portrait that it wasn't quite as beautiful as the proto, but I think she's still stunning. Really, really stunning. I love this piece. I have no need to replace it or to have any other Wonder Woman in my collection. Except for a movie Wonder Woman, I gotta have a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. But for comic book Wonder Woman, this one fits the bill for me from head to toe. She's just beautiful. The skirt is the exclusive. The piece actually separates at the waist, so you can take off the skirt or put it back on. Next up is Superman, also from Sideshow. And I'm going to say something that you guys are not going to believe. I am in a very small minority of people who like this piece better than the Hush Superman from Prime 1. I don't like the portraits on the Hush Superman. I think he looks ugly, frankly. And the musculature, I think, is kind of ridiculous, that it's so exaggerated. I realize Superman's an alien. He doesn't have to look like a human. He doesn't have to have the anatomy or musculature of a human male. But this statue is Superman to me. He just is. So I'm quite happy with it. I love the base. They did something different. It's not just a Fortress of Solitude base. You know, they got him holding the Brainiac head in the exclusive. Some folks didn't like his complexion. They thought he was too dark. I can understand what they're saying, but it doesn't bother me a bit. I actually really like it. I think it's a great piece. Doesn't get as much praise as it deserves. Sure, I'd prefer it had a sculpted cape, a lightly sculpted cape, but it just wasn't a deal breaker for me at all. And I love that expression, very intense. Next up is Captain America Honorary from XM. Really nice piece. This is going for a little less than retail now, I think, on eBay. But it's nice. I really think it's a great piece. Next up is the Raccoon Pf. This piece is totally sold out, and I think it's cool. I really like the costume they put him in. Crystal on the base, fierce expression, really good representation of Rocket. The Spider-Man PF, this is the one that came out 4 or 5 years ago. I'm really late to this piece. I only picked it up about 4 months ago, just after the new PF went up for pre-order, and I saw how much that was going to be. I crunched the numbers on how much this one would be. They were offering free shipping at the time, and I had some rewards points. I ended up getting it for like $4.25, and I don't think I'll ever need another Spider-Man in my collection. I love this piece. The engineering on it is fantastic. The paint is great. It does not have the detail on the costume that the new PF has, but I can live with it. I think it's still really beautiful. The paint is just phenomenal. Really great piece. And last on these shelves is the Iron Studios 1/10 Hulkbuster from Infinity War. This is another piece that I think was a bargain for the money. I think I paid $2.89 for this. 20 inches tall with a lot of detail. And I think this piece is sold out as well. You can find them on eBay. But for $2.89, I think that's a really great deal. All right, now we come over here to look at Tweeterhead, starting with Superman. This was the troubled release that had the really sloppy paint at the belt. And then there were cape problems where it scratches against the skin parts of his neck and shoulders and leaves red paint, and it was kind of a big mess. I gave it a pretty poor review. Sorry, Chad. But it was so bad, and it was throughout the entire run that the factory is redoing the entire run, and everyone's getting replacements. That should happen sometime this year. I love the design of the piece. I love the paint on the portrait. I think it's really cool, very intense, but it just needed a little more quality control to make it acceptable. Recent release is Donna Troy. Her paint, on the other hand, is fantastic. Really, really nicely done. Small base on this one, but the price was also more affordable on Donna Troy than on the other Tweeterheads because she does have a smaller profile. Martian Manhunter. This is an underrated piece. Really, really well done. It's got a small edition size. If you're a Martian Manhunter fan, I'd grab one of these. Who knows if Sideshow's ever going to do a PF, and this one's really well done. Next to him is Wonder Woman. She had the seam at the neck problem. That was a big bone of contention for collectors when this was released. I have her displayed low now. I can't really see it, but it's there. I gave Chad a hard time about that in my review of her. But he certainly learned his lesson. There's no seam on Donna Troy at all. It's a beautiful piece though. I mean, I love everything about it. It's just that neck seam. The base is really cool. It complements Donna Troy's base. Everything about it's great. It's just that neck seam is a problem. All right, moving over. We have Harley. Really, really nice. I had a problem with my portrait on this piece, but Tweederhead did replace it. It was a long wait, but I did get a replacement. The replacement was significantly better. Nice detail on the base. And she goes so well with the Joker. This is one of the better Jokers produced, I think. I can't honestly say that it matches the rest of the Superpowers line. It has, I think, more detail. It's a more intense expression. Those are, in my mind, all positives. Just a really nice piece. There's another portrait for this that's even more intense, where his jaw looks kind of almost dislodged. Really nice Joker. My most recent Tweederhead piece is Batman. He just came last week. And Tweederhead in our last few releases, Donna Troy and Batman, they're on kind of a roll. The QC on this is great. The paint is beautiful. I love the shades of blue and gray that they chose. The musculature is nice. The folds in the fabric. I think it's a full sculpt, of course, but look at the detail that looks like folds in the fabric. Everything about this came out, couldn't have been better. Just a really, really nice piece. And of course, the black and gray variant is due later this year. This is not Tweederhead. This is a DC Designer Series Frank Cho Wonder Woman, which is also 1/6 scale. I love this piece. It's a beautiful portrait. I like the costume, and I like that Frank Cho displays his women not as skinny as other artists or sculptors do. She's got a little more meat on her. I think it looks really, really beautiful. Just a great piece. And the last piece I'm going to show you is the first statue I ever bought. I'm primarily a comic book collector, and many years ago I bought this piece just because I thought it looked so cool. I was at the comic shop picking up my weekly comics, and I saw the Superman Masterpiece Edition that was a box including this statue and a hardcover book on the history of Superman, and then a reprint of Superman #1, which is all over eBay right now, many of them slabbed by CGC and selling for a couple of $100. But this is just a great Golden Age Superman. And when I bought him, it was not with the idea of starting to collect statues. It was just to accent my comic collection. But I've held on to him just because I think he's so cool. And you can still find this. It's on eBay. It's not very expensive. You'll see them being sold by themselves, or you'll see them being sold with the whole Masterpiece Edition box. But a super fun piece. So that's the room tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time putting this collection together. I'm looking forward to seeing what awesome pieces come out in the future. I should be back fairly soon with a review of Tweederhead's Catwoman. And then in a month or two, I think their Robin is coming out. So I'll be reviewing that as well. In between, I'll be doing more videos on comics, Golden Age comics, Silver Age comics, Bronze Age comics, all that good stuff. I might throw in a movie review or two as well. Or if I'm bored, I might just talk at you, whatever. But if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm at like 8,200 subscribers. I want to get to 10,000. I'd love to do it by the end of the year. I think it's probably going to be more like halfway through next year. But if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't seen my website, take a look at that. It's www.detective27.com. I have a few statues for sale there and a bunch of comics from 1939 to present. So take a look at that. Otherwise, I will see you on Statue Forum. I'll see you on Sideshow Freaks when it's working. I'll see you on Facebook and at a convention near you. Take care, guys. Have a great night.